What's going on, Colts Nation? Good to be back with you guys. It's been a couple days. I apologize. Been busy, hanging out with family, here on vacation, doing what to do. Lighting, not what it normally is, so hang with me. But here today, just want to talk a little bit about some things I've been seeing. Once joint practice is done on Thursday, we'll end up going over kind of everything I've observed, kind of what I'm looking for. But really, what I want to talk about here is going to be the tight end competition as we go forward, right? The tight end competition between, obviously, we have Warren, who's expected and probably will be almost definitely the tight end one, kind of already is. But also who comes behind him, right? In years past, of course, we've had Mo Alley Cox. We've had Drew Ogletree. We've had Jelani Woods, who's been hurt most of his young career. So what's going to happen there? And, of course, we have tight end Will Mallory. Now, we have Sean McKeon, some other tight ends on the roster as well. But we're really looking at these five, right? And we're looking at these five because we have generally, from what we've seen in Shane Steichen's system, we're going to have four tight ends, right? So one guy's going to have to bite the dust. And the question is, who's that guy going to end up being? It's going to be a difficult decision. But I think as we continue to go forward, that decision continues to become more clear, right? So again, as we look at the situation, and you look at different roles on the roster, right? You can't just have a tight end room of guys that you expect to be receiving threats. You drafted Tyler Warren to be your receiving guy, the guy that's going to go out there. He's going to make plays and going to be able to move the chains for you. We saw that in the preseason game. It's expected. Tyler Warren's tight end one, no question about it, right? And then when you go forward, what are you looking at? Well, just from what I've seen, right? I didn't go to Monday practice. I decided to go ahead and skip that one. Went and saw some family, hung out with nieces and nephews and sisters and whatnot. So didn't go to that one. Kept up with that one and kind of what was happening. And from the two practices I was at, right, red zone day, and then one day where they were actually kind of moving up and down the field a little bit and a little bit of red zone, Will Mallory is really making noise. And this is a guy coming out of I believe it was Miami, right? Coming out of Miami. Somebody that when we draft these guys, I do homework. I want to know what I'm talking about when I talk about these guys. And I went and did my homework on Will Mallory and thought, this is somebody who can be dynamic in the NFL. As I continued to look, I was just like, this guy can for sure be dynamic in the NFL. And over the first couple of years, again, tight end room, we didn't really have that playmaker guy. We didn't really have anybody that was separating themselves. And Will Mallory, in my opinion, was kind of buried in the depth chart. Didn't really understand why. I thought when he got on the field, I thought he did a good job of making plays. I feel like he doesn't really drop passes, right? Somebody that I was looking at when he came in at, this is a guy that needs to be on the field. And seemingly we're going to see that this year. Will Mallory not only is pretty much for sure making the team. I think him and Tyler Warren are going to make a really good 1-2 duo at that tight end position. Right now, of course, Tyler Warren probably going to dominate the action from the tight end position. And then, again, he got 3 catches for 40 yards in limited action in the preseason game. He's going to get the ball. He does a good job getting open. Like the way Travis Kelce, just finds a way to get away from people. Tyler Warren seemingly already doing that. Now, will he do that against starters, right? I'm excited to see what happens in the joint practice. Now, in the joint practice, Jordan Love's not going to be there, which is very disappointing. I work with somebody who, in my day job back in Florida, who is a diehard Packers fan. And was hoping to get some really good Packers content for him, hoping to get some good Jordan Love content for him. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. The defense isn't going to be tested in the same way in the joint practice, but I think with the tight ends, I think what we're going to see from both Warren and Mallory, it could tell us a lot about the roles that they're going to have going into the season. And those roles, especially the role for Will Mallory, is going to be interesting to see how it works out with him being such a receiving threat, but we have Tyler Warren. But also you have Mo Alley Cox, who I think a lot of the reporters on Twitter and people that talk about the Colts, we're on Twitter yesterday talking about, hey, listen, I'm somebody who didn't want Mo Alley Cox back, but when you look at Mo Alley Cox. It's not just what he does on the field, it's what he does in the locker room, right? The leadership that comes with him. He's one of the veteran guys on this team, one of the most long tenured guys on this roster right now. So his leadership in that room, especially with so many young guys, right? Everybody in there, right? Ogletree's getting a little older, getting to that, veteranship. He's about ready for his second contract in the NFL. You have Jelani Woods continuing to get older, Will Mallory, but Mo Alley Cox, by far and away, the veteran in the room, and not just in the room, but in the locker room with DeForest Buckner and Quentin Nelson. So the leadership qualities that he brings, but also, and this is Destin Adams, I replied to one of Destin Adams' tweets, and he, graciously replied back with his thoughts about how, I said that, I think Ogletree could get pushed out and we could see Woods. And he was talking about and did a good job bringing up the roles for the tight ends, right? And when you look at the roles for the tight ends, it just makes sense to have Mo Alley Cox there and Drew Ogletree there because they are plus ones in the run game. You think about what they do, like Drew Ogletree would drop some passes. He can make some plays in the pass game, but not really that receiving threat that we need. But in the run game, he does bring a lot to the run game. He's young, he's active, he's somebody who's still got a good amount of athleticism. And then you have Mo Alley Cox. These are two guys that are massive human beings that can move bodies, right? Talking about being able to double team DNs. Right. So, or even, Drew Ogletree moving up the field to get a linebacker, right? When I say young and active, being able to get his hands on a linebacker while Mo Alley Cox is helping block a defensive end. So overall, these guys and their roles, right? Their roles are going to be massively important in this system. So Mo Alley Cox and Drew Ogletree almost seem like shoo-ins to be able to make it, which then, as you look at the four tight ends, Tyler Warren, Will Mallory, then you also have Drew Ogletree, Mo Alley Cox. That leaves Jelani Woods as the odd man out. And Colts fans aren't going to like that. At least some Colts fans. Now, of course, there's going to be people who are like, yeah, well, he's always injured, so who cares? But, the future was so promising with Jelani Woods early on, right? With everything that he brings physically, his size, his speed, his physicality. In kind of what I ended up replying back to Destin was like, man, the logic is there. But seeing Jelani Woods become a star somewhere else is going to be difficult to see. And it just feels like that could end up being the case. But like, again, we have Tyler Warren, we have Will Mallory. Like, Jelani Woods has been hurt. Jelani Woods doesn't really bring that same tenacity in the run game as Ogletree or Mack. And so the odd man out as of right now, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, it just seems like the tight end room has gotten better and Jelani Woods could be the odd man out. So how's that situation going to work out? Will they say, hey, we'll sacrifice a ninth offensive lineman, right, on the active roster to bring in a fifth tight end and keep Jelani Woods? Or what's probably inevitable is that Jelani Woods ends up getting waived, goes somewhere else. There's no way he makes back to our practice squad. With what he brings physically, there's a GM somewhere out there that's ready for Jelani Woods to be able to hit the market. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of scouts and GMs waiting to see what happens with our tight end room, whether it ends up being Ogletree or Woods, right? One of these guys gets waived, they're going to get picked up, right? Especially because of what Tree brings in the run game. Like, one way or another, one of these guys are going to get picked up. So it's not like this is going to be the end of anybody's career, but this is going to be a difficult decision. And one of these guys is probably not going to end up being a Colt going into the 2025 season in week 1. So my opinion, and I think the opinion of a lot of people right now, is that the odd man out could end up being Jelani Woods with the injury history, with him just not really – he doesn't have a role on this team. You look at the tight end room between what happens on offense and what happens on special teams. I just don't think Jelani has a role on this team going forward. So he's really just kind of trying to put on, and I expect him to play a lot in these last two preseason games, so that they can try to, hey, maybe we can get some value for him before we have to release him. Or, hey, let's let him get some film out there and let him continue his NFL career somewhere else. But right now, it just seems like Jelani Woods might be the odd man out. I'd like to know what you guys think. And again, I'm going to have more for you guys after the Thursday practice. We're really going to go through everything. And that video might be Friday. To be completely honest, actually, Thursday is my last night here after that practice. So, and I leave very early on Friday morning. So we'll probably have that discussion on Friday, with the preseason game being on Saturday. And we will be live for the preseason game. Initially, I thought I wouldn't be. We will be able to be live for the preseason game on Saturday. But at the end of the day, we will have a conversation on Friday about everything that I saw this week, how I'm feeling. It's been a little up and down, but I think I've been able to gather some good stuff, and I'm really ready to see us go against the Packers. Again, I was really hoping to see Jordan Love. I think that would have been better for the defense overall, but the defense has been turning up. Just a little preview for Friday. Defense has been turning up. Lou's starting to turn it on in practice, and I think that's going to help everybody, both the offense and the defense. So a lot more to talk about this week. Some more observations to go through. Again, just remember, I'm here in Indiana. I'm visiting family. That's why there hasn't been a video in a couple days, kind of trying to give my people the time that they deserve. Haven't been able to see a lot of people over the last few years. So trying to take care of that, trying to get you guys content. And we're going to talk about things as much as we possibly can. So you let me know your thoughts on this subject, on the tight ends, down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. And of course, make sure you hit the like button if you're enjoying the content. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified whenever we do put content out or whenever we do go live. And of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.